Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. Well, we're gonna talk about the injury report that was conveniently slipped out for the Indiana Fever game tomorrow evening against the Dallas Wings. And when I say slipped out, I mean this wasn't something that was heavily promoted or discussed ahead of time. It just kind of popped up, and now everybody's scrambling trying to figure out what's really going on behind the scenes. Somebody pointed something out, and I actually think it's a very valid question. Why in the world are we playing the Wings in preseason and then opening the season against them again? Why not have this game against the Mystics or somebody else and save that Wings matchup for the actual opener? From a marketing standpoint, from a hype standpoint, from just a fan excitement standpoint, it feels like a missed opportunity. Because let's be honest, if you're building anticipation, if you're trying to create that big moment to start the season, you don't want to give fans a preview of the exact same matchup just days before. It kind of waters it down. It kind of takes away that must-watch feel. And I don't know, maybe the league didn't think about it that way, but it just seems like the excitement level would be a little bit more worked up if they handled it differently. But that's not what happened, right? So now we're here. Now, a couple of things we've got to get into, and yeah, we will get to the Aaliyah Boston and Lexie Hull situation because that's where a lot of the confusion is right now. A lot of people are still wondering, what is actually going on with Aaliyah Boston? What is this injury? Why is it being described so vaguely? And then you've got Lexie Hull. Same type of questions. Why are we already dealing with injuries like this before the season even properly starts? What happened in Unrivaled? What exactly is this lower leg issue they keep referencing? Because let's be real, lower leg issue could mean anything. That's not a diagnosis. That's not even helpful information. And that's where the frustration starts to build, because fans have seen this before. Are we doing the Caitlin Clark day-to-day ankle situation all over again? Is this another case where the Indiana Fever PR department is just putting out vague updates, stringing fans along and not being fully transparent about what's actually happening? Because if that's the case, people are going to catch on quick this time. They're not going to just sit back and accept it. But before we go deeper into that, let's talk about something that's actually being celebrated right now, because I'm honestly a little confused by it. So apparently, the Caitlin Clark effect has struck again. The viewership numbers have officially been released for the Indiana Fever's first preseason game, and on paper, they look solid. I'm not going to sit here and say they're bad. They're not bad. But at the same time, I don't think they're as impressive as people are trying to make them seem. And one thing that immediately stood out to me, and yeah, I'm gonna call this out, was the poster they used to promote this game. Like seriously, what are we doing? Why do y'all have Natasha Howard on the graphic when she doesn't even play on the team anymore? That's just sloppy. That's not attention to detail, and it makes the whole thing feel rushed or outdated. But anyway, let's talk numbers. The Indiana Fever and the New York Liberty preseason game pulled in 743,000 viewers. Now, don't get me wrong, that's not a bad number. That's a win in most situations. It's close to 1 million. It shows there is real interest. But here's where things get interesting. The WNBA on ION telecast reported that this was a 76% increase over ION's first preseason game last season. And that's the stat they're pushing. That's the headline. That's what they want people to focus on. But when I saw that number, 743,000, I had to stop for a second because something didn't feel right. It felt light. So I started digging a little bit deeper. And what I found was that they weren't comparing this to a previous Indiana Fever preseason game. Instead, they were comparing it to a Dallas Wings and Aces game that did 406,000 viewers and a Chicago Sky versus Brazil game that did 305,000. So of course it looks like a massive jump. Of course it looks like huge growth. So that's not exactly apples to apples, is it? So then I went and looked at something more relevant, the Indiana Fever versus Brazil game on ESPN. That game averaged 1.3 million viewers and peaked at 1.6 million. Now do the math. That's about 600,000 fewer viewers for this preseason game. And I know what some of you are going to say. Well, it's ION versus ESPN. Okay, fair point. But let's actually break that down. ESPN is available in around 70 million homes. ION, on the other hand, is available in over 100 million homes. And not just through cable. It's available over the air with an antenna. It's on Dish Network, DirecTV, YouTube TV, and it's even free on Roku. So accessibility is not the issue here. If anything, ION has a wider reach. So when you have two of the most popular teams in the league, the Indiana Fever and the New York Liberty, with players like Caitlin Clark, Sabrina Ionescu, Brianna Stewart, Kelsey Mitchell, and Sophie Cunningham, and you're only pulling 743,000 viewers? Yeah, I'm sorry, that feels light. It feels like an underachievement. It feels like that number should have easily crossed 1 million. And this is where things start to connect. Because if you were paying attention last season, you already saw the warning signs. When Caitlin Clark was dealing with that ankle injury, the Indiana Fever kept labeling her as day-to-day, over and over again, week after week, and fans kept waiting. They kept expecting her to come back. They kept buying into that timeline. And then suddenly, the season's over, and she never returned. That kind of thing sticks with people. Fans remember that. And when they feel like they've been misled, they don't just forget about it. So now, you combine that lingering frustration with what's happening right now, more vague injury updates, more uncertainty, and then you add in the stylistic concerns. Because let's be honest, there is a segment of fans that are not happy with the direction this team is going. They don't want to see Caitlin Clark playing off ball. They don't like Stephanie White's system. They don't want slow-paced basketball. They don't want to see the ball taken out of Caitlin Clark's hands. And whether people want to admit it or not, that affects viewership. So when I look at that 743,000 number, I don't just see a stat. I see a potential trend. I see a slight drop in enthusiasm. And yeah, it's early, it's preseason, but these are the kinds of signals you don't ignore. Now let's get back to the injury situation, because this is where things get even more concerning. Stephanie White has already said she doesn't anticipate playing Aaliyah Boston, Ty Harris, or Lexie Hall in the preseason game against Dallas. And her quote was, "I think we'll probably be cautious with that. The goal is to get some of the minutes on Saturday if we can." If we can? What does that even mean? Either they can play or they can't. That kind of language doesn't inspire confidence. It raises more questions. And again, we still don't know what's wrong with Aaliyah Boston. Lower leg injury. That's all we're getting. Is it serious? Is it minor? Is it something structural like an ACL? Is it a strained Achilles, a calf issue, a sprain? Nobody knows. And that's the problem, because transparency matters, especially after what happened last season. Now look, I understand that teams don't want to reveal everything. I get that. But there's a difference between protecting information and creating confusion. And right now, it feels like confusion. There's definitely a portion of the Fever fan base that still trusts everything the organization says, and that's fine. But there's also a growing number of fans who are skeptical. And I'm telling you right now, I'm in that second group. After last year, there's no way I'm just taking everything at face value. And again, I think this ties directly back into the ratings, because when fans feel uncertain, when they feel disconnected, when they feel like they're not getting the full picture, it impacts their engagement. It impacts whether they tune in or not. And right now, there are fans who are frustrated. There are fans who are angry. There are fans who feel like their superstar, Caitlin Clark, is not being utilized the way she should be. They feel like she's being pushed into a system that doesn't maximize her strengths. And whether that's true or not, that perception exists. And perception matters. Because here's the reality. Neither Stephanie White nor Caitlin Clark are going to come out publicly and address these concerns in a controversial way. That's not how this works. So if you're waiting for some kind of confirmation or statement, you're probably not going to get it. All we can do is watch what happens on the court and read between the lines. And right now, it just feels off. It feels like there are too many unanswered questions for a team that's supposed to be building momentum. And on top of that, you've got roster concerns. This already looks like a MASH unit situation, and we haven't even started the season yet. Too many guards, not enough size, injuries piling up. It's not an ideal setup. So yeah, there's a lot to unpack here. Tomorrow night's game, Wings at Fever, is going to be very interesting. Not just because of the matchup, but because of everything surrounding it. Who plays, who doesn't, how the team looks, how fans respond, it all matters. So now I want to hear from you guys. What do you think about all of this? Are the ratings actually strong, or do you agree they feel a little low? And what's your take on the Aaliyah-Boston situation? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like, and don't forget to subscribe.